It's good to be with you today, Khalid. Thank you for the question. I was a lawyer and I practiced corporate law in New York, moved back to Canada and had children here, and wanted to get involved in politics. I didn't like the direction that Ontario was going in. I grew up in a political family, so the jump from the private sector to the public sector wasn't as foreign to me as it may be to other people because I'd seen it myself. And so I was excited to be nominated and to be elected as the MPP for York Simcoe. So I think it's my past. You know, my family was involved in politics, and so it seemed like something that is worthwhile to do with your life.
So it runs in the genes, right?
It's my mother says it's just my father's genes. My mother thinks that she says you're crazy like your dad.
No, your dad is a great guy.
He is a great man.
Yes, of course. Minister, you know that our show caters mostly for all Arabic-speaking Canadians and newcomers as well, inside and outside Canada. How do you see the Arab women?
The women that I know from your community are very, very strong women. And, you know, your community forms an important part of our social fabric here in Ontario, contributing so much to our culture, our cultural fabric, but also to our economy and to our political fabric. As you know, we have the first Egyptian elected to the legislature, Sharaf Sabawi, and you know, he brings an entirely new perspective that's an important perspective for us to have as a government as we're making policy decisions for all Ontarians.
Absolutely. Have you been to any Arab country?
I have been to Egypt. One of my very good friends, one of my best friends is Egyptian, and I have been to Egypt to visit him and attend his wedding, and I enjoyed it very much.
We have to speak about this later. You expand on that.
Well, an Egyptian wedding was quite an event. I've never seen anything like it, and it was a lot of fun.
Lovely. What's your message to all Arabic viewers who are watching us right now on Hawa Toronto?
Well, I want to thank all Arabic viewers who contribute so much to our province to make it stronger and more resilient. The strength of your community and your culture has always been important to Ontario, but now in light of COVID and the pandemic that we're all living through, it's even more important. And the message I want to give is that our government is so grateful to you for the contribution that you make to our province and to your communities and to our province as a whole. And I want to make sure that you know that your voice is heard here at Queen's Park and that we are working hard to represent you.
Minister, recently you announced that Go Riders will enjoy free Wi-Fi on Go Transit. That means your team and in the ministry, of course, listens and delivers. Can you please tell us how much it costs to provide such services and how Go Riders will benefit from this?
Well, you're right, we listened. So we conducted a survey of Go Riders to understand what they're looking for out of, in terms of improved service for Go. And almost 60% of Go Riders wanted free Wi-Fi on trains and buses. And so we announced that this week. We have a contract with a Swedish company, and it costs about $70 million to implement it across the network. We have it in all of our buses and half of our trains right now. We'll have it in the rest of the trains by early 2021. And it will enable people who are traveling on Go Transit to work and also to be entertained. They can download shows and listen to podcasts. And we did this directly in response to what we heard from our transit users.
Think of all the things that have happened in your life and all that will happen. All the strange, happy, imperfect, unbelievable things. It's a good life. It's a great life. But where are you going? What's the plan? Who's helping? If you'd like to have a conversation about your life, home, and auto insurance to help protect the people and things that are most important to you, speak with a local Desjardins agent. And let's focus on you.
So speaking about entertainment, you say that Go Wi-Fi Plus, you are talking about Go Wi-Fi Plus, of course, and this is very unique. And it reminds me actually of the in-flight entertainment when you are traveling by plane. Can you please expand a little bit on this and what kind of programming, etc.?
Well, we're going to develop a suite of programming in response to what we know our transit users will want to see and listen to, music as well. If you have a Presto login username, you'll be able to download up to 50 megabytes of data. If you don't, 10 megabytes. But as I said, we have Go Wi-Fi Plus, which will also enable people to be entertained, listening to music, watching their favorite television shows, and listening to their favorite podcasts.
So would you include Hawa Toronto later on?
I would put it at the top of the list.
Very well, thank you so much. Because you are one of the very affluent francophone ministers in Ontario, Ontario government, of course. Si vous voulez adresser les femmes arabes qui nous regardent maintenant, que vous dites?
Les femmes arabes, oui, les femmes arabes sont une communauté très importante dans la province de l'Ontario. Et je vous ai dit en anglais aussi, elles représentent une force dans nos communautés, une force que je respecte et beaucoup et une partie importante de notre province.
Merci. So if you say this in Arabic.
Oh, shukran. Shukran, Hawa Toronto.
Thank you so much. Thank you and have a
day.
lovely day.
You too.